something magical about having enough property where you feel like your nature is doing what it's supposed to be doing. You know, it can act naturally. My name is Sally Taylor. I live in San Francisco, but I have a wonderful farm here in Virginia. It's really a woods that was bought by my grandfather in the 1930s at the end of the Depression with his brother. They were both great hunters. They used to come here to Powhatan County to hunt. And I, as a child, would come out here. And it was great because there was an old plow horse out here, and old Silver would let me ride her bareback. As a child, I thought it was heaven, and now I'm here at the end of my life enjoying it all over again. It's great. So the property in 1989 was basically cut, and it was planted to loblolly pine, which was the big thing in 1989. And after almost 25 years, I started looking into what should be done next in terms of the pine management. I then started researching with Virginia Tech about how to manage what I hoped would be, again, mixed hardwoods, because I felt like the property should be in mixed hardwoods, and I'd like to return it to that. I'm not quite sure how many of the Virginia Landowner courses I've attended, but it's closer to a dozen than half a dozen. And each one teaches me more about what I can do with this property. I'm always amazed how Jennifer Gagnon and the group come up with more and more new information. So it's been so useful to me, and I go every year thinking, all right, this is going to be the last year because they can't teach me anything else. And every year it gets better. The last program was this spring in March. They had a program on how to do prescriptive burning for people who were landowners, not for people who were professionals.
And that gets saturated with fuel, and you light that on fire, and then you just walk down and it just drips out. And if it really pours out, then you can tighten up that screw and get it back to a drip. In the absence of wind, fire will follow a slope. So if you've got a slope like this and the fuels are right here, the fire's going to burn just straight vertical in the absence of wind, which is the same thing as, so here's the fire, here's the slope, and you take the slope away, that's the wind. It's the exact same phenomenon. So this is a case where I would definitely, use that water if it were right here.
I have a wonderful woodsman, Earl, who works with me, Earl Tombs. He's the son and grandson of my next door neighbors, and he's marvelous. We have been burning, but we thought we should learn more about the system and the safety and all the different repercussions of it. So we took this course, and it was great. We were both, I think we both learned so much. It was such a wonderful day, well spent. The educators in these programs are amazingly altruistic, and I'm constantly going back to them and making phone calls and say, what do you think about such and they're always endlessly helpful, and so it's a wonderful resource. It's something better, even better than the internet, to really know they really understand about Virginia and our particular problems and our particular advantages. So it's something where you can't just go to some guy in another state and find out what's going on. A lot of this is very much unique to our part of the state. I've been doing more active land management than any of the owners had done before since my grandfather passed away. And I think it's partly because people didn't realize that it is important, and some people are managing for deer, and some people are managing for something else. And some people aren't managing at all. I feel like it's really a responsibility, as you would take care of a house if you owned it. You want to take care of property and woods, and though they look like they're growing and fine, they do need active management. One of the first things I actually learned about from these woodlands courses and for the landowners was about this WHIP program, and I was lucky to get into it because it has since now closed down, and I think it had been going for like 20 years. But it's a very helpful program to try to help you get land that is either being used for something else or not being used, which was our case. We have 20 acres of fields that are basically just bush hogged every year. And the fescue and the Johnson grass are the predominant plants in those fields, which is useless to all the animals. So they were both invasives that I wanted to get rid of. So we sprayed for them and did all the things they said, and including in that is burning. So that's how we got involved in the burning as well. So it's really taught us a lot about trying to manage the land, thinking in terms of the wildlife. I'm not doing the conventional plant your loblolly, clear cut it, plant it again. So I'm so much more interested in the wildlife habitat than in just making money off the trees. So I feel like these programs that are taking care of the needs of the critters around here, especially since we're not growing anything in our fields, it gives us a chance to do something with the fields that is really positive.